Testing. Good evening, welcome. My name is Dr. Courtney Bell. I'm the orchestra teacher for 6th grade here at South Middle School, and we are really excited to share with you what we've been working on for these last several months. Before we get started, a couple things you might have noticed is that first we had to tune. So I like to make sure that parents and caregivers around this time are aware that string instruments are made out of wood. Wood under a microscope looks a bit like a sponge. When it's very wet and humid in the summer, it's going to expand, right? But in the wintertime, the opposite happens. It's going to shrink. So it's very, very important, first of all, that you try to keep these instruments as temperature controlled as possible. Make sure that if you need to go in somewhere, like say you're going to go to a restaurant or something, that the instrument also goes in. And that's going to protect it from getting open seams or cracks or any of the other little things that can pop up this time of year. Tuning can also be a challenge. And violins and violas have a little bit of an advantage because they bring their instruments to school. I can help tune them. Cello players, it's a little bit of a challenge because, of course, they're not bringing their instruments to school. So I just want you to know a little bit about tuning. What you need to be aware of is that this is 400-year-old technology, okay? The way it works is it's shaped like a wedge. And what people, the two most common mistakes that people make is they forget that in order to get it to stick, you have to apply a lot of inward pressure as you turn. If you let up at the last minute, it's gonna slip right back on you, okay? The other mistake that people commonly make is they try to go way too fast, too quickly, and they don't check as they're going, and then of course that's going to result in a snapped string. Now, the good news is that, the snapped strings, thankfully these are not the most expensive strings right now, and accidents are going to happen. That is part of the learning process. But again, your best bets for success are going to go slow and steady, and make sure you're drilling that peg in as you turn. Of course, you always have the option to bring it to school. I'll fix it for you, and then you take it home. All right, so first thing that we are going to do for you is we are going to get a little warm up, and you're going to get to hear the whole range of the instruments. We're going to play you a little hot crossbuns, followed by burnt crossbuns. The difference is that for these players, they use two different what we call finger patterns. And I think you'll hear the difference. One sounds a little brighter, happier. The other one sounds a little more sour, right? So if you think about it, they're playing, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 notes per string. And then we've got 5 strings. So that's a total of 20 different notes that we're about to perform. I think that's pretty good for beginners. So here we go. this is a great tragedy, in my opinion, of being a beginner string player, is that we tend to hang out with two strings more than any others, the D string and the A string. But there's really no reason to not play on your G and your C and your E string. They're not inherently more difficult. It's just that for practical reasons, we have to start somewhere, right? So I think it's very important that these students all get to experience the whole range of their instrument right from the beginning. All right, the next thing we're gonna do for you is we're gonna play a thing that every musician ever has to do, and these are called scales. Scales are just a way of saying that we're gonna start on one note, D, and we're gonna climb up to the next D with everything in between. A D scale also happens to have what we call an F sharp and a C sharp, but who cares about that? So we're gonna go D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, and then come back down. We're going to be starting off with a rhythm that is very common for beginners. This is called a pepperoni pizza rhythm. It just means that they're going to go short, 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 long, long. All right, here's our D scale up and down. For string players, what we've really just done is we've kind of taken care of two problems, right? Because when I think about learning a string instrument, there's actually three separate thought processes happening at once. You've got your right hand skills, that's going to be anything with the bow or plucking. You've got your left hand skills, that's going to be putting the fingers down to change the pitch. And then of course, there's the reading skill, and that's the one that I teach it separately for a while on purpose, because I know that as soon as you put a piece of music in front of a student, they're going to forget about all those wonderful things we're setting up in their left and right hands. So the D scale, now we have a range of notes that we can create a lot of different melodies from. And with our pepperoni pizza stroke, what we're doing is we're practicing what I call a combo bow. So it's a shorts and longs mixed together. And what I tell the students is that this is a starting point, because in your music, you're going to come across scales, you're going to come across the pepperoni pizza rhythm, but it's not always going to be a nice full pepperoni pizza per note. So the next thing we're just going to do is we're going to demonstrate how you can take pepperoni pizza, you can snap it in two, and now we're going to go up the scale. It's going to go pepperoni pizza, pepperoni pizza, so on and so forth. Here we go. We can keep going with this idea. Now we're going to snap it in four. So now it's going to go pepperoni pizza, so on and so forth. And of course, we could just snap the whole thing down so that every part of pepperoni pizza gets its own note. And of course, this would be the last step. that last level, I was going to make it kind of like a joke, like, haha, you know, oh, this is really hard, so it's okay if they don't get it. But these guys actually meet the occasion. They do it pretty well, so I'm pretty impressed. Okay, so like I said, moving on with our D scale, we're going to play you our first tune that utilizes the entire D scale. This is called French Folk Song. It also uses nice long full bows. And it also happens to be in 3, which is unusual for beginner songs. In fact, this is a problem with children's repertoire in general, that there's not enough that's in a 3 meter. So like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's important that we get an opportunity to play songs that involve that. All right, we're going to do it twice. The first time everybody's going to play the melody. The second time we're going to highlight our bass and cellos on the melody while the violins and violas do something different. They're going to switch to a bass line. So see if you can hear when we split in 2. Sometimes French folk song is called a tone piece because it's all about creating beautiful tone. And I think that's the most important thing you have to start with. You have to start with a tone that you're proud of. Because if you don't like the tone that you're making, why are you going to want to continue playing your instrument? Nobody wants to sound crappy on their instrument. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to play a tune for you called Lightly Row. This is just a slight challenge in that it involves something called a tunnel. So in other words, we're practicing crossing strings and creating tunnels with our fingers over strings. And this time we'll be featuring the violins and violas on the melody. Second time, cellos and basses are going to switch to the bass line. our next tune, we're going to be turning to a classic fiddle tune that beginners tend to learn. This is called Violin Cabbage Town. And there's a couple of things that you're going to notice. One of the things that's going to happen is there's going to be a slap bass part in the bass and cellos. So what they're going to do is they're going to be doing some pizzicato, that means to pluck the string, and then they're going to give their fingerboard a little smack. It'll make a very satisfying thwack sound. So that's one thing that's going to happen. We're also going to be playing the melody, especially over here in our violins and violas. That's going to start on the second round. Then the cellos and basses will have to pick their bows up so that we can all play the melody together. We're going to put it back down again, go back to slap bass, and then we're all going to finish with something called Shave and a Haircut, which is just the ending. Yum, bum, 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 bum. One final challenge that some of our students will be going for, I bet many of them, is that some of us are working on double stops. So all that means is that in addition to playing those fingers with those tunnels we talked about in lightly row, they're able to also play open A at the same time. So it sounds a bit like this. Yeah, I told my cellos they deserve extra applause. Cellos and basses, I'm sorry. Cellos and basses deserve some extra applause there because that is not easy to coordinate all those. Pick up the bows, put the bow back down, pick it back up again. All right. Yeah, very nice. All right, so now we come to a tradition. This is a tradition that I do every year with 6th grade. People love it or hate it, but it doesn't matter because we do it. It's important for developing bow skills as well as stamina. This is called the Twinkle Marathon. All right, you are going to hear Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star a total of 6 times, and each time there's going to be a different bow rhythm. First one is going to be nice, friendly pepperoni pizza, just like before. Then we're going to move to a alternating stroke called Jack Rabbits Eat Carrots. Then we're going to move to, in my opinion, the hardest one because it's got a stop and it's also an uneven rhythm. It goes ice cream, cone, next note, ice cream, cone. Then we're going to move on to strawberry, blueberry. This is a 6/8 pattern, strawberry, blueberry. Then we're going to do a very fast Wish I Had a Million Kittens, and we're going to be looking for those arm motors to work. We want to see those elbows flexing. And then last but not least, we'll play the most luscious long Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star theme that you've heard. All right, here we go. right, we have reached the end of our program. The last thing we're going to do is a little celebration of the holidays. I think everybody's going to probably know this tune. We will end up doing it twice, and if you would like to sing along, feel free to do so. All right, a couple of quick housekeeping things. So I didn't even tell the students about this. I forgot to mention it to them. Something that I like to do, because I know that it kind of stinks that I can't put everybody in the front. I just can't do it. It's not physically possible. I do like to try to mix things up between the concerts. But I know that you would like to get some photo opportunities. So we're going to have a little Mama Roxy moment. My students are going to stay on the stage temporarily, and I'm going to give you a chance to stand up and get closer to take pictures. And they will smile because I told them to. And then here, I do need some help. So as you guys can see, in case you didn't know, unfortunately, it's a good thing. I'm going to be having a baby in February. I'm very excited about that. But that means I'm having a little bit more trouble. Thank you. I'm having a little bit more trouble, like with movement and moving things. All right, thank you guys, thank you, I appreciate that. So what I need help with is we're gonna have to get the choir room back in order, because I don't want our choir teacher to get mad at us. I moved a bunch of chairs in there and they needed to get moved out. So we'll take care of that, and we're just gonna make sure that everything's looking good. We don't have to do anything with the stage, but cellos, if you can make sure that all your infant holders end up in the box here, that would be helpful. And make sure we're not leaving any like papers or detritus on the ground. In fact, pick it up right now because I'll ruin the pictures. So pick up your papers, make sure there's not a bunch of junk on the ground. All right, so at this time, parents, let's come up and have our little parent moment. Students, stay in place, I know. And smile, look good, look happy.
Claro que sí. Y anda a pie. Ah, va bien. Claro que sí. ¿Ya está listo?
Estoy listo. Aprovechemos que no hay, no sabes nada en el parquillo. Es que así la líder no tiene que irme a dejar hasta allá porque queda aquí nomás, vos sabes.
Yo que iba a comer un esquinito.
Pues yo no te digo que no, lo.
Qué celebrar. No me enseñó a hacer eso. Después de cada concierto hay que ir a comer alcohol.